Alright, hello everybody, welcome. We're just currently going through a few teething problems with the stream, so I will be in and out confirming this is working. Can confirm it is working, excellent. Alright, well welcome. We are 10 minutes away from finishing this practice session and getting qualifying underway, which we are very excited for. You can currently see Tyler Lanzell on the screen at the moment in the 98 BMW. So we're going to go qualifying today here at Bathurst for our Bathurst 3 hour that's coming up later this afternoon at about 2 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time, so New South Wales time. We'll be going, so just getting a couple warnings, going through what might be happening with the stream. Turn the game audio up a bit. I can do that with my stream expert, Max. And that you use. What's wrong? Okay. Max, how does the stream look? Does it look good to you? Tell me if it looks good. If it looks terrible, I can try and fix it. This is a bit of a test as well. We got two streams happening today, so this is a bit of a test to see what's going on, and then we'll make it look good for the second one, essentially. Can I open up? Here we go. Alright. I'm trying to figure out how I can get the chat up. I want to read the chat as we do this. So, yeah, live control room. Wonderful. How's the chat going? Alright, Baldy, are you there, mate? Have you got me? Might not be there. Oh, he's there. How does it look? Does it look good, Max? Looks great. Wonderful. Excellent. I'm glad to see it. Perfect. I don't know how I can get this chat to sort of stay there. I'd like it to, but you know what I can do? I can make you a moderator, Max. Here we go. Add as moderator. Save. There you go. Alright. You should have a little spanner now, possibly. Because you're a moderator for our channel. Okay. Yeah, true, I should just use my phone for the chat. Good point. Yeah, I reckon there'll be a little bit of a delay, annoyingly, but that's just how it's going to have to be, I think. Hopefully it's not too much of a delay. But we're about 5 minutes away from going qualifying. We're still going through a couple teething issues at the moment, just making sure things are sweet and finalising a few things as we head into qualifying. So stand by as we do that, but we will be going qualifying very shortly, so get excited. It's going to be great. Yeah, Riley, we're just finalising a few things, going through a few teething issues, so it's going to be a little bit radio silent at the moment, but I promise once we get into qualifying, it's going to be very exciting. We're just finalising a few things now. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate you tuning in for qualifying for our Bathurst 3-hour later today. The grid is... We haven't got the biggest grid. We've got about 10 cars on the grid. I'm just trying to figure out how I can get the grid to show up. We're currently looking at the number 98. We're going to get you some on-track action now with... Here we go. Who have we got out on track at the moment? This is Aiden Rogers in the 253 car. And we've got Scott Smith 1 and 2. So we've got 2 Scott Smiths in this race. Scott Smith is qualifying the car in the 862 entry. So we'll get this is Nick Carter in the 711 Mustang. He's a solo entry for today, a wild card entry, if you will, because all our full-time drivers have paired up for this 2-driver enduro. Nick Carter unfortunately was not able to secure a co-driver. We did, and then he unfortunately his co-drivers weren't able to race, so he is doing it on his own under provision that is a wild card, so it's not going to be worth championship points for him today. He sits 4th in our mini-series standings currently, and I don't think that will change because the guy that sits 5th, which is me, is also not racing today. So yes, he's very quick in that 711 Mustang, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in qualifying. I apologise, I'm very new at this. But here we go. So this should be able to be seen on screen now. If I just confirm, yep, there we go. Getting the picture right. We got our qualifying drivers. So Nick Carter in the 711 will be qualifying. Tyler Lanzell in the 98 BMW. Brad Money in the 238 Aston Martin will be qualifying that car. Number 7, Riley Nicholson in an Aston Martin as well. 253 is Sal Levick. I hope I said that right. In the 253 Mustang. The 862 Aston Martin of Scott Smith. The 15 Ferrari of Les Sandwith and Matt Donetti. Les Sandwith qualifying that car. James Dalton in the 23 Porsche. Ridwan Ibn Hamza in the 14 McLaren. Number 77 Mustang. Will not qualify. Will not be able to take part in qualifying, unfortunately. But we will see them for the race. Do not stress. So that is our... that is what we're working with for qualifying today. We've got 5 seconds till this session is complete, so we're almost there. We're almost ready to go. for qualifying. That is the timer done on practice. This is Nick Carter. We've got Ridwan Ibn Hamza, currently the fastest in the session, I believe. And he's not on track. There he is. There's this Ridwan Ibn Hamza, currently with the best lap of a 2:02.3. So he's currently the fastest in the session as it stands at the moment. So doing quite well so far, I would say. Is this looking very speedy, this FR Racing McLaren. I was going to say Mustang. It's not a Mustang. It's definitely a McLaren. As drivers come through, we've got 1 minute and 17 waiting time. We're almost ready to go qualifying here at the mountain. Hoping that I'll have someone join me in the commentary box very soon.
Green light, go, go, go.
Okay, here we go. It is time for qualifying. So we have 9 cars in the lobby, and then me as a spectator. Ridwan Ibn Hamza is going to be the first car to blink here for qualifying. He's going to go qualifying. Here he is, Ridwan Ibn Hamza, out onto the circuit. The first car to say let's go. We've got some fast drivers in here indeed, boldly. So here we go. Our Smashing Apex, we've got your driver on the screen at the moment, mate. He's the first one to head out and got on track. We can see the other cars all starting to head out now as well. So we got half an hour of qualifying ahead of us. This is going to be some real exciting stuff unfolding within the next 30 minutes. And I'm really keen to see where this one goes. Now, I will say it's getting a little bit lonely in here. I will have some very interesting, some very good friends of mine joining me shortly. That should be Justin Ladaway and potentially Josh Green jumping in the commentary box to give their thoughts on what is going on in this qualifying session. So strap in for that. It's going to be really good. We've got some, really good people jumping in the commentary box with us, which we're very excited for. So this is Ridwan Ibn Hamza. Currently one of the faster drivers heading into this weekend, so something to look out for. Les Sandwich still sitting in the pit lane. This is Jimmy D. He's in the 23 Porsche. He's qualifying that car today. It says Aiden Rogers is in the 253. It was supposed to be Sal Levick, so we'll have to see whether they potentially switch drivers, because that was supposed to be Sal Levick qualifying that car. So we'll keep an eye on that. We've got, who else? We've got Tyler Lanzell in the 98 BMW. Slight contact with the wall, just coming under the tree there at turn 6. And that's a very tricky section of racetrack. Another contact with the outside wall there, so potentially maybe damage on board now for Tyler Lanzell. He looks like he's going a bit slowly. Maybe backed out of it. Not entirely sure. This is Riley Nicholson. In the number 7, Aston Martin, he's driving with Andrew Griffin, or more as we more affectionately know him, Toolshed. He's supposed to be driving with Josh Green, but unfortunately, Greenie was not able to drive today. We'll hopefully have him in the commentary box very shortly, but we missed seeing him out on track today. We're a bit short on entries. We did have about 14 cars on the grid for this race, which was going to be 28 drivers. But we've had a couple teams have to pull out, so we're down to 10 teams, which will still make for some good racing. I think given the pace that a lot of these guys have. We're going to see some close racing throughout this 3 hours coming up later on this afternoon. It's going to be absolutely cracking, and we will have a look further through the field now. So this is Scott Smith for, I believe the team name is Renee Gracie Racing in the 862 Aston Martin. Very nice looking Aston Martin that is as well. These guys have been quick. They came in late to the mini-series. These guys have been quick all throughout the mini-series. He's very close to the wall there at the tree. It's a very nice camera angle. Just gives you a sense of how hard they are pushing as they come up through turn 6 underneath the tree and pushing those cars to the absolute limit, getting as close to the wall as you can. This is Sal Levick now jumped in the car. So Aiden Rogers, who was doing laps during the practice session, was obviously set into the car. But they've done a driver change now. Sal Levick is going to qualify this car in the number 253, and it's a very lovely looking 253 Mustang. There's some great liveries on these cars. There's a bit of limitations to what you can do on a console with these liveries, but they do a great job of making them look absolutely spectacular. And you are right, absolutely right, Max. Nicholson will be incredibly fast here. He has been fast here. He was fast here. We did our 90-minute race at Bathurst about a couple months ago now. This guy, he was flying. He came third in that race. A lot of pace on board this car, and definitely a driver to watch out for today. We'll see what he can do. This should be his first flying lap. We have not got an accurate reference on the screen. It says his lap was 17 minutes, almost 18 minutes. I don't think that's right. So we'll see what happens when he crosses the line, whether that was an out lap. So we'll see what happens now when he crosses the line, whether he's going to set an indicative lap time or not. He does. He does a 2:04.3, takes him up to 5th in this race. Currently the fastest guy on track is Nick Carter, who has done a 2:01.9. So a lot faster. We're seeing 2:02s in practice, and immediately as we come out in qualifying, we're seeing 2:01. So this is getting spicy up the top here. We're going to see some very fast times. I would not be surprised if we get close to breaking the 2-minute mark towards the back end of this session. And I think we might have a good friend on board to help us commentate. Give me 2 seconds. Justin Ladaway, I think, has jumped in the commentary box to say g'day. Can't hear him just yet. Oh, he is. He's talking. We cannot hear Justin. Alright. What have I done? How have I broken this? Stand by as we go for some troubleshooting here. I can see that he's talking, but I can't hear him, and I would love to know why. Give me 1 second. We're going to disconnect and rejoin. Justin, you there? There we go. I can hear him now. We'll make sure that we can hear him in the stream as well. Alright, I've got you now, Justin. Good, yourself? It's good. We're going to make sure we... Nick Carter has spun up top. I'm just making sure the stream is working again before we... confirm that's going on. I believe it is. Now they're saying they can't hear you, Justin, so we're going to work out why that is.
I see.
We're gonna get you. Oh, we should be able to hear you now. There we go.
I've just messed everything up.
No, you're all good. We can hear you now. Well, I'm seeing you come through, so I'll get the stream going for you, so you can see. There we go. You can see everything, and we should be able to hear you now.
You beauty.
So there we go. Let me know in
We're
chat.
back 2.0.
Yeah, there we go. We're back. So, Nick Carter back out on circuit now. He has done a 2:01. Who's gone fast? I'm trying to see who's gone faster. Brad Money has gone, or Money has gone faster. I'm trying to get his time, a 2:01.7. So, I was saying earlier, we're seeing 2:02s in practice, Justin. Immediately as we come out for qualifying in the first 10 minutes, we're seeing 2:01s. So, these guys, they're not mucking around.
No, they're straight into it, aren't they? It's I'm trying to make my video a little bit bigger here because I'm struggling to see the names and the times and whatnot.
Let me see if I can help with that. Maybe. I'll close that. There you go. Is that a bit better? Maybe.
I think it's on my end, to be honest. I'm trying to get rid of our little icons on the bottom of the screen.
I see.
But no, I'll put the laptop right up to my face.
Let's get it nice and close.
Get some square eyes.
Yeah, that's the way. How's the audio now, Max? Is it any better? You're saying the audio was cutting in and out every few seconds. Hopefully it's a bit better now.
You sound like a robot to me.
Do I?
Yeah, well, I don't know how the others are hearing it, but for me, you sound like a robot.
Is that any better or not really? Still happening. Okay. All right. We're going into troubleshooting mode. This is why I said we got 2 goes at this today. We get the qualifying, and that's the teething problems, and then we get the race. So we'll check in with what's happening in qualifying now. So we've got Ridwan is done. He's done a 2:02, almost 2:02 dead. So he's quite quick early on here, Ridwan Ibn Hamza.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it's
Oh, we're having issues with the internet. Stand by. Stop that for a sec, see if that might fix it a little bit. What's good now? I think we're overloading the internet. I'm on a MacBook, but I'm on home Wi-Fi, so it's NBN. So you'd think we'd do alright. I'm just gonna. Don't actually know. I think it's Telstra. Alright, is that any better? Let's see if you sound a bit better now. I've done that. You're talking very quickly. It's like you're speed talking, which is quite funny. All right, we can hear Justin quite nicely again, which is good. That's good. There we go. All right. Now, I'm gonna share my screen here. Quality, we're gonna 30 frames per second at 720p, so it's gonna be a bit lower, but hopefully it might actually be more. Yeah, it might actually be more stable. We'll give that a go. If it doesn't work, then might have to fly solo on this.
Yeah,
Max,
no worries.
Max, let me know how that sounds. Everyone in Hampton pulling over to the side, so he's still third, not able to improve on his lap time yet. We've got 15 minutes left in this qualifying session, so let's actually talk about some racing now. See if we can get this to to go back on the rails a little bit. We've gone a bit off the rails here with this. So some of these guys, Justin, you'd be quite familiar with. Some of these blokes you would not have had much to do with yet in the world of Adrenaline GT, because these guys come over here for ACC only. So you'll be very familiar with some names, I'm sure, like Les Samwith and Ridwan and Chris Lashbrook. But some of these guys, like this guy here, Jimmy Dalton, you wouldn't have had much to do with yet.
That's right. Yeah, I've never heard of him. That's for sure. And yeah, there are some exclusive ACC guys here, and as we speak about that, JD's into the wall, which, as I've heard, is quite easy to do at this track on this game. So yeah, I haven't actually given this game a go myself, but I've heard only great things about it.
Yeah, it's certainly been challenging to especially this track on this game, because the walls come at you a lot faster than they would on, say, Gran Turismo 7. These cars are a lot more loose across the top as well. They sort of float, especially on a lighter fuel load, which is what these guys will be running for qualifying. I'd very rarely think they'd run a heavy fuel load. So yeah, it's a lot easier to put it in the wall across the top here, but these guys are doing a fairly good job so far. We'll see probably a couple more mistakes before the day is done. But we're looking at the moment, this is back to Ridwan, who's currently still third, yet to improve on his lap time. We'll see if he can do it this time around. He's closing up on the back of, I believe that's Scott Smith in the 862. And he's fairly quick as well. He's currently fourth fastest. So I would love to be able to have the leaderboard up, but I'm still trying to work out what the UI and how the spectating works on this game. This is Brad Money. He is the fastest at the moment, still with a 2:01.7. So his fastest time still stands with 12 minutes left in this session. And then we've got Nick Carter in second, still with a 2:01.9. So some of these faster times we saw early on, Justin, still standing up. So maybe the track not evolving as much as these guys would like it to.
Yeah, well, I don't actually know the dynamics and the physics and whatnot of this game, but I imagine that there would be some variations in the track temperatures and the rubber going down, and I'd say that will be all incorporated into the game. So, but no, I'm just great to be here and get my first proper look at the game, and yeah, get a bit more of an understanding of how it all works. Yeah,
it's certainly a different challenge, this game, but it's a lot of fun once you start to get the hang of it, and it feels really good. Like you can just see Nick Carter there. He's got that car cranked sideways down the hill through the dipper. He was absolutely wringing the neck out of it, trying to find a little bit of pace. He's just down on his lap time at the moment. You can see not even a 10th down. He's just gone to a 10th down on his time, so he lost a little bit of time down the hill. But it's very rewarding because you get sort of live feedback throughout your lap of where you are in terms of your best lap time, and he'll be getting that, and he'll be able to see, and it's very rewarding when you do go into that green and you find like maybe 2 or 3 tenths. It feels really good. But he's through the chase. He's found a little bit of time there through the chase, but not too much. You can just see Brad Money over to the side, getting out of the way. This isn't going to be an improvement for Carter as he comes across the line. He carried a lot of speed in that final corner to try and get a bit of time up, but didn't quite get there. So he'll have another crack at it this time around. but we can see already, you can see Ridwan here improving now, Justin, only just on his time though. He's sort of floating around that, he's just gone into the negative now. He was green coming out of the chase, so maybe a little bit of time lost out of the chase, a little bit more wheel spin than he would have liked. He's just going to go green and do a 2:02.027. His best lap time previously was a 2:02.047, so 2/1000ths of a second, or yeah, 2/100ths I should say, sorry, of a second he's improved by. So fine margins around here, Justin.
Yeah, it seems that way, and like you were saying, I really like that the little split thing on the top left-hand corner of the screen there. Definitely doesn't have that in GT7. You just have to wait till each sector to find out how you're going on your lap. But yeah, I really like that feature, and yeah, it looks like Ridwan started this lap really well. He's floating around a tenth to a tenth and a half up, so this could be a bit of a cracking lap here from Ridwan.
Yes, he's found a bit of time. He gets very close to the wall under the tree, and yeah, he's found a whole tenth so far in that first sector. So he's going to have to try and do his best to wring the neck out of this thing to keep that tenth as we come across to go down the hill, because one small mistake down here will cost you heaps of time. He's made contact with the inside wall at 11, and that has sent him backwards all the way down to 13. That car has stopped, and he will go back to the lane, but that was heavy contact with the inside wall. That is another thing about this game. You have to get as close to the wall as you possibly can. And especially coming through here, you can see there Tyler Lanzell, who is almost 3/10 up on his time. You're trying to cut back to get as close to that wall to make that run down the hill, run through 11, 12, and 13 as straight as possible. And he's just got it slightly wrong on at that time. You're sitting on the opposite side of the car to that as well. So you're sitting on the left-hand side of the car. I guess when you're sitting, if you're sitting on the right-hand side of the car, it'd be easy because you'd know the wall was sort of right there. Whereas, yeah, these guys, they're trying to feel it out based on how wide the car is. And that McLaren, it's a fairly wide car.
Yeah, well, as we're watching Tyler here, he's on a cracking lap. I believe he's currently in 6th place overall, but I imagine this lap's going to potentially put him up a spot or two.
Yeah, we'll see where he jumps up when we come through. He's about 2/10 up. He lost a little bit of time coming out of the chase down towards Murray's Corner. He's going to find a little bit here on exit. Maybe just that will keep him in 6th place, but he does a 2:03.12. So he's still over a second off these fastest guys up the top. They're doing 2:01.7s at the moment. That's the fastest time we've seen. So, yeah, you got to be absolutely on it around here in qualifying. I don't think we're going to see 2:01s in the race. I don't think anyone's going to quite get that fast in under race pace, under green flag racing conditions. But we are going to see some fairly fast times, and I think the key thing around here, Justin, especially with how much these walls can bite you, is just going to be consistency.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, that's the case in any racing discipline, isn't it? Is being consistent. I think already from what I can take from watching this for a few minutes is that this is a lot less forgiving than Gran Turismo 7. I know from my own experience, you know, there's multiple lines you can take through most of the corners on this track in GT7, and if you get it a little bit wrong, you can still get away with it. But from what I'm seeing here at the moment, you just get offline by a meter, and yeah, it kicks you in the guts. Yeah,
it's very unforgiving, this circuit, and it does like to bite you a little bit. If you make even a slight mistake, we can see a lot of guys sort of coming into turn 1, making up about a 10th, and then losing it on the exit. So these guys must have been very conservative on their entry into turn 1, and then trying to go deeper, but it's costing them on exit, because we just saw Nick Carter do the same thing as he came through. He was about a 10th and a half up on the apex of turn 1, and then went back to being about on par with his lap time on the exit of the corner. So we're starting to see guys get a little bit braver under brakes now, which is what we want to see with just over 5 minutes remaining in this session. We want to see guys getting to the point where they're going to make mistakes. We saw that with Ridwan earlier across the top. He's a 10th up again in this first sector. Very close to the wall. Not as close that time. He had a little bit more room between himself and the wall that time. Very close to the wall there at the grate, though, this time. So he's pushing that car as far wide as it can go, and the camera has seemed to lost him there. He doesn't get the inside wall that time. He's a little bit more conservative, I could tell, through there, trying to not make that inside wall this time. He's just down on his time as he comes down the mountain towards the dipper. Is he going to go? He's just dipping in and out of the green here, so he's right on it. A little bit of contact there with the outside wall at Forest Elbow, Justin. He is pushing this car hard.
He certainly is, and I've just noticed as well that Ridwan has now dropped down to 4th overall, and I believe S. Smith has now gone up to 2nd, so that's something, little observation that I've made there. So Ridwan has lost a spot.
He has, which is, yeah, so that's something I would love to be able to get this game to show me just the overall leaderboard and be able to scroll through from top to bottom, but it doesn't seem to want to let me do that, unfortunately. So we're a bit limited in terms of the UI availability on ACC for console spectators. You can do a lot more on PC, from what people tell me, but Ridwan's going to have another crack at this. We've got 4.5 minutes remaining. Yellow flag somewhere. I believe that's just for the car sitting in the pit lane. That is a glitch with this game in general. Sometimes it just shows if you pull over on the side of the road and then select to go back to the pits, sometimes it shows yellow flags for the car in the pits. So it's not a big deal, especially in qualifying. It won't affect anything. But sometimes in the race that can prove tricky, especially if coming onto the front straight, you're side by side. Heavy contact there from Les Samwith into the wall at the grate. That went in. That was fairly hefty contact there, Justin. Just watching that, and if that was real life, he'd be very winded. But thankfully, it's a game, and you can just sort of roll on. But there's going to be a fair bit of damage to that car, so I would suspect we'll see him at some point as we get onto Conrod pull over and jump back to the pit lane to essentially reset to go again, because that was, yeah, fairly heavy contact. He's going to be carrying a fair bit of damage on that car now.
Yeah, well, I don't know the damage mechanics on this game, but yeah, I imagine that it would be having a significant impact on his car right now, and he's either got to be coming into the pits to repair the damage or resetting. I don't actually know what the best option is, having no experience on the game, but I imagine resetting to the pits would probably be the quickest, unless he hasn't got that much damage and he's just going to carry on.
Well, I would think he would have a fair bit of damage, because the damage model on this game is fairly unforgiving. Even light contact with the wall can give you it deals damage in seconds. So when you go into the pit lane, it gives you like sort of a second amount of time that you need to do your pit stop and then also repair damage on top of that. And I see him getting a bit loose there on the exit of turn 1. Contact like that would usually give you at least 45 seconds worth of damage, especially with given how heavy it was. So unless it was different on our screen to what it actually had unfolded, we were seeing something different to what was on his screen. But you can see he's 3.5 tenths up here, so even if he has damage, it's not affecting him. If anything, it's making him quicker, because he's found about 5 tenths within the first 2 corners, Justin. He's flying around here at the moment.
Yeah, he is. Well, he definitely dumped the throttle on the exit of turn 1, didn't he? Which did make him get a bit loose, but sometimes if you can hold on to it, it certainly does give you that boost going down the first straight there. And you can tell that he is definitely pushing that car at the moment. I think he's pushing it a little bit too hard up there. No, he isn't. He's now 1.3 seconds up on his time, 1.4. So Les is on an absolute stonker here.
Yeah, he's found a lot of time. I would say the amount of time he found across the top does indicate to me that he did make contact with the wall in the previous lap, and whatever damage he's got, he is just pushing on with it, because, yeah, he's found a fair bit of time across the top of the mountain. He's now 1.8 seconds up on his best time, which is a 2:05.8. So it's nothing blisteringly quick, but this is going to certainly help him get up there. It's going to put him into the 2:03s, potentially.
Top 7, I would say, surely.
Top 7, you would have to think so for Les Samwith as we come down towards the chase now. So this is going to be another crucial braking zone. This is a very heavy braking zone. The later you can brake here, the better off you'll be. But if you brake too late, you'll find yourself in the grass on the outside, as is the case with this circuit just in general. He's lost about 3 tenths, 4 tenths now through there. So he lost a bit of time, a bit too conservative. So he'll have to have another crack at this. You'll get one more chance to have a crack at the mountain before the end of qualifying. He does a 2:04.4, stays in 9th. We're just having a look who else is on track at the moment. So not going to be an improvement for Tyler Lanzell this time around, but he'll get another crack as well. Behind him, Scott Smith not looking to improve at the moment. Levick not looking to improve. Nick Carter is 4 tenths up on his time at the moment. If this is accurate to what is happening with his time, because it says he's done a 10-minute 20 lap time at the moment. So potentially is about to go 5 tenths faster than his best time of 2:01.9, which will put him well within pole position time. Is it going to do that? Yes, it is. A 2:01.3 for Nick Carter to put himself on provisional pole position. That is absolutely mega, and he's gone wide at the... He's going to stop. That's going to be enough for him. So now we're going to have a look to... B. Moni is in the pit lane, so he's not going to improve. Ridwan Ibn Hamza is looking to try and improve now. About on par with his lap time. Scott Smith, where's he? What's he doing at the moment? He's 4 tenths down on his time. So I don't think we're going to see anyone, unless someone can pull something out of the fire here, Justin. I don't think we're going to see anyone beat this time of Nick Carter for pole position with a 2:01.3, which is an absolutely mega lap time.
It certainly looks that way. Ridwan is definitely not in the green at the moment, and was it Steve Smith?
Scott Smith
wasn't improving either, so yeah, it looks like Nick Carter has this in the bag, and as far as I've been keeping track of things on the ACC land, Nick Carter was the winner of the mini-series, is that correct?
No, we came 4th in the mini-series. He was quite quick throughout the mini-series, but a bit of bad luck here and there, and some unfortunate incidents meant that he dropped down. So Ridwan is our current championship leader for the mini-series, so he won the solo drivers and is looking to wrap that up today if he can get a good result here at Bathurst to wrap up the mini-series championship. But he's going to cross the line. He's not going to improve. It's going to stay. The top 4 are not going to change. So Les Sandwith went up to 5th at the end of that as well. So he jumped up massively. We did miss that. That is absolutely mega. I've apparently qualified 10th, which is well done to me.
Oh, well done, Isaac.
Thank you. Didn't even have to do anything. So Nick Carter qualifies on pole by 3 tenths over Brad Moni in the Mercedes. So 3 tenths between those guys. Absolutely mega qualifying. Scott Smith, 5 tenths off him in 3rd. We'll get an actual breakdown. If you give me a second, I can actually get a breakdown of our lap times if we go here. So let's have a look at the qualifying time. So Nick Carter dominates all 3 sectors for that race. Brad Moni with a very respectable 2:01.7, so just managed to improve his lap time he'd done earlier on in the session, but only just. Scott Smith with a 2:01.8, and then it was Ridwan with a 2:02.0, and then LJ pulled out a 2:02.6 with a fairly damaged car. So I would like to think between himself and Matt Zanetti, there's going to be a fair bit of pace in that Ferrari 296 later today.
Yeah, well, that was an absolute ripper of a lap at the end there from Les, and would have loved to have seen it. Yeah, but he's definitely got some pace on this game, doesn't he? You love to see it, and so I see by that there is 9 cars. Is that correct, Isaac?
We have 10 cars. So one car, I'm just saving the replays. We might be able to go back and watch this lap at the end from LJ. But there's one car that won't be able to partake in was unable to partake in qualifying as neither driver was available. But we will see them on track for the race. So we do have 10 cars in for the race. We had 14. I was saying so. We had 14, but due to a few people not being able to make it due to some family commitments and some other reasons, then we did drop down to 10 cars. But it's still great to see 10 cars on the grid. They're going to do a nice minute-long race here, but we're going to shut the server down before they can do that, because I don't think they need to. Don't need to do that. So I will shut down this server pending that I have the qualifying results, and I do. Perfect. So we will turn off the server and they will step away. So if you bear with me for a second here, just before we shut this stream down, we might actually try and get a look at LJ's qualifying lap here, because that was absolutely stonking from him to do that. So where are we?
While you're doing that, Isaac, I might just clarify a little bit of the format of the race, I imagine it's going to be two 90-minute stints. Is that correct?
Not necessarily. So, in the wonderful thing about Assetto Corsa is we can actually do driver swaps during the race. So we have it set up so that drivers are able to be in essentially a team together. So their entry list is shared. So, for example, we have... I'm just going to mute this game for a second so we don't have to listen to that. For example, we have the wonderful LJ, Les Sandwith, and Matt Donetti sharing a car in the number 15 Ferrari. They share an entry. So when they load in, Les will load in first. When Matt loads in, he is then put into essentially a sort of spectator mode where he can see Les's car. He can see it oh, the game has crashed. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted.
No.
So just going really well today. But yeah, so essentially they share an entry. They can drive into the pit lane. So LJ does his sort of first stint. If you want to do half an hour, you want to do an hour, drive into the pit lane, and then as he's doing his pit stop and he's selecting how much fuel he wants to put in, his tires put in, can he also select to change to Matt? And at the end of that pit stop, the car will drop and Matt will assume control of the vehicle, and LJ will be resigned to a spectator mode. So it's quite cool that we have the ability to do this within Assetto Corsa. Gran Turismo, we do a 90-minute stint, and then we open a new lobby, and the next driver gets in and does a 90-minute stint. In here, it opens up the strategy so you can do different things. Each driver has to meet a minimum driving time, so each driver has to drive for an hour and 15 minutes if it's a shared entry. Nick Carter is the only one that's exempt from that because he's driving by himself, so he gets to do the whole race on his own. But he's not racing for points, so he's a wild card entry because he's essentially not following the rules, which is you can only essentially drive for a maximum of an hour and 45 minutes to ensure that it's sort of shared around as much as possible. Otherwise, we might have drivers that, go do, I'll do 2.5 hours and you can just do like a 30-minute stint here. So we make it about as even as possible. But yeah, so each driver has to meet a minimum driving time. We do have a graphic that I'll put up for the race preview with all this information on it as well, so that people can see sort of what's going on. But yes, they've got to make
so the game monitors that and enforces that minimum hour and 15 as well.
Yep. So they'll have a timer or down the bottom that says this is how much driving time each driver has left. So we've set it so that they have 2 hours of driving time. But if we get to the end of the race and they have 15 minutes of driving time, less than 15 minutes of driving time less, we know they've gone over and they've broken the rules. So each driver has to meet a minimum, so they can see on the thing, so it says, this driver has an hour and 15 minutes left, this driver has however long left. They can sort of work out how much driving they have to do, so it monitors that, and if they go over that driving time, it will disqualify them. We try and prevent that as much as possible because sometimes if you get to the end of the race, the timer might go off just as the leader crosses the line, so everyone has to do one more lap, and you might have come really close on your driving time strategy. So then we have to take that to the stewards and review that incident and say, is this worthy of a disqualification? Whereas if the game has it, then it just immediately disqualifies them, and it's not something we can overturn. So we sort of bring the human element back into it just a little bit to give us a little bit of leeway in what we're able to do.
Well,
so
that's amazing. What a great game.
It is quite a wonderful game. It gives us a lot of things that we can do. There's a lot of limitations to it, but there's a lot of cool stuff like this that we are able to do. So let's have a look now, if we may, at the lap of our LJ Sandwich here. So this was his fastest lap that he did. This was his final lap that he did. So we'll see if we can get on board with him potentially. Oh, no, that must be the end of his lap. Here we go. We'll go back to the previous one then. So this will be it. This will be his fastest lap. So let's have a look at this on board with him. Nice shot of him. Oh no, I don't want to exit. I want to close them. Yeah, I'm still learning this. I'm still learning how all this works. But here we go. So he was ninth coming into this.
Can you change driver views while you're driving?
So you can map buttons to change the views while you're driving as well. So it's all mappable buttons, just like it is in Gran Turismo. You can customize what you do. So this is the lap that LJ had. So he's looking fairly aggressive through sector 1 here, quite close to the wall at the cutting there. And then we'll see what he does. This is a nice helicopter shot. See if I can get out of the helicopter shot. Here we go. Coming through underneath the tree, through the grate, very close to the wall on the grate there. This is a very tidy lap from LJ. It's yeah, it looks very clean, very tidy. Nice line through, down in through Skyline. That was a beautiful run through there. Second gear, goes back to first just to throw the car and get a little bit more rotation into the corner as you come through the dipper. And then we're down into Forest Elbow here. Again, back to first gear, 90 k's an hour, just into the 80 k's an hour, about 89 k's an hour there through as a mid-corner speed. And then straight on the gas, down Conroy Straight. This is a very long straight. You get a lot of time to sort of just sit at and think about what you're going to do as you get to the chase, because the later you brake here, the better it's going to be. We've seen a few guys get a little bit too eager on the brakes. Nice and deep into that corner. Second gear makes that corner nicer. That was a beautiful apex through there. You don't want to use too much curb in these cars because it can throw you around, especially it's a very steep curb in the chase on this game. And then into the final corner, little bit of curb there on the exit. Well done. That's a brilliant lap from LJ, and that puts him up to 5th. That's an absolutely amazing lap. And as Ferbs just said in the chat of our stream, it's amazing what LJ can do when he doesn't read the chat.
Exactly.
So that was an absolutely brilliant lap from LJ. That's going to do it for qualifying. We've got about an hour and 15 minutes. So we've got a whole stint time before we go racing here at Mount Panorama. So we'll take a bit of a break. We'll step away from this stream and we'll come back in let me have a look at my schedule. And we'll be back in probably about an hour's time for the race stream. So we'll be back in about an hour's time. So thank you very much, Justin, for jumping in the commentary box. It's been brilliant as always to have you alongside me, and I'm very much looking forward to this race.
No, it'll be good. I know a little bit more about the game now, so when it comes to the race time, I won't be asking any of those questions. We'll be just commentating on the great action.
Yep, looking forward to it. Can't wait.